Brandon Matthews, standing on the green of his third extra hole playoff at the Argentine Open, described the silence around the green as deafening. At stake, other than victory on the PGA Tour Latin America, was a guaranteed spot at the next year's British Open Championship at Royal St. George's. Playoff adversary Ricardo Celia had just drained a 32-foot putt to apply pressure. To stay alive, Matthews only had to make his 8-foot putt. Matthews said, quote, "I'd been putting really well all week and I had no doubt that I was going to make the putt." As Matthew drew back his putter blade, a spectator from the crowd screamed. Matthews flinched and missed the putt. Matthews threw up his hands in disgust and said angrily, "Come on, guys! Seriously?" The match was over. He had lost. The interruption cost him the tournament and his spot at the British Open. As Matthews walked off the green in defeat, he stared glaringly into the crowd. He said, "I thought that somebody had done it intentionally." In the locker room, a short time later, Matthews was informed by a tour official that the man who had made the noise was a fan with Down syndrome. In fact, he was such a fan of Matthews that he couldn't contain his excitement for him, so he yelped. The tour official said Matthews' face changed when he learned about the fan and said, quote, "He almost broke into tears." Matthews' mother managed group homes for Down syndrome, and his best friend had a sister with Down syndrome. "You need to take me to this guy right away," said Matthews. They took me to him, he said, and as soon as he saw me, he gave me this huge smile. The reaction on his face made my day, made my year, made my life kind of thing. It was pretty incredible, he said. Matthews gave the man a hug, he signed a ball and a glove for him, and chatted with him for a few minutes. The two shared an emotional moment. "I just wanted to make sure that he wasn't upset by the situation and for him to know that I wasn't upset as well," said Matthews. He said, "I was frustrated at first, but I didn't understand the full circumstance behind it. But once I did, it was pretty easy for me to handle the situation." So, my Darren Daily friends, here's what you don't know for sure. You never know what's going on in somebody else's life. That Uber driver who wasn't so friendly, she might be an overwhelmed single mother who only slept 3 hours a night for weeks because she's trying to make ends meet working 3 jobs. That person who bumped into you on the sidewalk and didn't say sorry, maybe they are taking themselves to the hospital for chemo, or they just found out devastating news about a family member. That bad driver who cut you off, maybe they are rushing home because of an emergency. That cranky cashier, maybe she is suffering from chronic pain. That person who didn't smile in the elevator at you, they might be suffering from severe depression. Or maybe you noticed a pregnant teen walking by. You instantly think that she is irresponsible and that her parents didn't raise her right. But what if she was raped? Hey, she might not have been, but that's the point. You don't know. You don't know anything about her life, but yet we already have formed a strong opinion about it. You never know what's going on in somebody else's life. A few weeks before the tragic and premature death of Chadwick Boseman, pictures surfaced on the internet that had him looking alarmingly thin and haggard. In many of the comment sections and on meme accounts, people joked at the effects of a few months of quarantine. Others called him Crack Panther, implying that he had a drug addiction and that was to blame for his radical change in appearance. Of course, we all know now why he looked that way. He was dying right before our eyes. He was dying of stage 4 colon cancer. Only a few days after these photos were taken, he died. Boseman's death, to all but a tight-knit circle of his team and a few close family members, was shocking and sudden. You never know what's going on in somebody else's life. Everyone around you, the people in the aisles at the grocery store, those that you pass in traffic, the faces that you see on your Zoom meeting or sitting next to you at work, those that you encounter on social media, and believe it or not, those that you see across the dining room table. Every one of those people are all experiencing the collateral damage of what it is to be living. They are all grieving someone, missing someone, worried about someone, and afraid of something. They are all dealing with the emotional effects of marriage, raising and worrying about their children, their mortgage payment, the security of their job, the satisfaction of their clients or their boss, the continued acceptance by their friends and family. Every single human being that you pass by today is fighting to find peace, to push back fear, to grasp at hope, trying to get through their daily tasks without breaking down in the office bathroom or in the carpool lane or at the post office. These are wounded, exhausted, pain-ravaged people stumbling all around us all day, every day. Parents whose children are terminally ill, couples in the middle of a divorce, people grieving the loss of loved ones and relationships, kids being bullied at school, teenagers who want to end their lives, people marking the anniversary of a death, parents worried about their depressed teenagers, spouses whose partners are deployed in combat, families with no idea how to keep the lights on, single parents with little help and little sleep. And yet, most of the time, we're fairly oblivious to all that. We are so focused on our own struggles in life that we assume ours are the only ones that matter. There are so many things that we know nothing about regarding someone else's life. Instead of realizing that, we assume things about them based on a few things that we see and think and observe what it is that they do. Here's what I suggest that we do as a community today, the Better Everyday community. Let's give everyone the benefit of the doubt today. Let's know for sure that we don't know for sure all that's going on in somebody else's life. Let's assume instead that everybody is grieving and worried and fearful about something. Because if they are here walking around in this heavy meat suit, there's a fantastic chance that they are. Realizing this can make a small difference in the world. Even the smallest kind gesture from a stranger could mean the world to somebody who is hurting. Sometimes small, considerate gestures can change a life, sometimes even save one. It would be easier if everybody carried around a written sign or had a label warning that said, "Handle with care, I'm struggling." Since they don't, we should look more closely and more deeply and more compassionately at everyone around us, at work, at the gas station, or in the produce section. And never assume that they aren't all just hanging on by a thread, because most people are. And one simple kindness from us can be that thread that keeps them hanging. We need to constantly remind ourselves just how hard the hidden stories around us might be, and to approach each person as delicate, wonderful, and invaluable as a treasure, one to handle with care.